Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation of that message reads like this. Hello my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a woman who is from Zim, as well my husband. We all come from the same country, and I am aged 43 years old. Currently, we are no longer living in the villages because of so many problems that I was facing in the villages, and some of the terrible things that I ended up doing in that family that I got married into. What happened is that me and my husband, we met, this was I think in 2013. That was when me and my husband, we were both working in Cape Town. I was someone who was able to provide for her family, and all that I wanted to do was to keep on taking care of my kids, because I have 4 kids that I had from 2 different marriages, not because I loved being married or dating a lot of men, but I was someone who told yourself that being married and being married at all the times, it is far much better than just going around sleeping with different men. So after school, there was a guy that I was dating. He was the one who impregnated me, and I then went and I started staying with him. Then we had 2 kids later on. He then told me that I was not satisfying him because of some challenges that I was facing, and I suspect that maybe there was someone in the family who was bewitching me, because what would happen is that even though it sounds really strange, but whenever me and my ex-husband would try to sleep together, then my private part will go missing. This happened several times. When we then informed the elderly people in the home, since my husband didn't have any parents, so we would go and speak with his late father's brothers, our uncles. And when we went and spoke with them about this issue, then behind my back, that was when they started telling my ex-husband that this meant that I was a witch, or I was a wife to a tokology, and if he was going to keep on staying with me, then it meant that this tokology, the next time that it is going to come, it was not going to hide my private parts from him, but it was actually demand for his blood, because at that time it was like he was stealing another woman's wife. But my brother, I think that these were pure lies, because I had actually gone around on my own, and I had been told that I was not a wife to a tokology, but there was someone in the family who hated me a lot. And at the time when I got married into this family, when I was still young, there was someone like one of my ex-husband aunties who just called me into their own bedroom, since they were all staying in a single compound. You know what people in the past, what they used to do is like one big family. That was what they used to do. Then each one had their own bedroom in that same compound. So there was one auntie who called me. This was after I had finished cooking, and when she called me, she told me that she wanted me to help her because she had been cleaning a small bedroom. Even the bed, he had actually raised up the bed against the wall, and I saw that she had been cleaning even underneath the bed. So she told me that she was really tired, and at that time she was already sitting on the floor, because as someone who had high blood pressure, she could not work for a very long time. I said to her, "Auntie, what is the purpose of you sweeping so late at night? Why don't you wait until it is in the morning, then you can continue sweeping?" She said that it was not a good thing for the house to remain like that throughout the night. That was why she was asking for my assistance. That is why she was asking for my assistance, so that I can pick up all the dirt that she had swept underneath her bed. So after I had picked up all the dirt that she had swept that was underneath her bed. She then directed me to take all of that dirt outside. I said, but according to our culture, it is not allowed that when the sun has gone down, we are not allowed to sweep the dirt until you have swept it outside. We only sweep it, then we leave it by the corner of the door, just behind the door. And she said that no, it didn't matter because these things that she had swept, it was not mixed with food. So anyway, my brother, I was really young. I then removed the dirt and I went outside, and she followed me and she directed me at this place where she wanted me to throw away everything. I later realized that we had actually gone outside of the compound. That was where I went and I dumped everything that was underneath her bed, and she had asked me to pick it up. So as I was doing this, the prophet later told me that this ritual that she performed on me without my knowledge, what I was doing at that time was that I was actually removing myself from my ex-husband's family, and everyone from there on started hating me. So when we started to experience that thing whereby my husband would actually not see my private part, it was made to look like that, but my private part was always there. It was that I had been given bad luck by one of my husband's brothers. So I was then kicked out by my husband soon after he had gotten married to another woman who was way younger than I was. I then went, my brother, and I started staying again with another man. This time around, I fell for a man who had already 2 wives, and I entered into that relationship as his 3rd wife. That was fine. I then had 2 more kids with him. By the time that I came here to South Africa, after that man had started abusing me, I had told myself that I just needed to rest. But deep down in my spirit, I always had that belief that I was supposed to get married one day. That was when I met the man that I met when I was in Cape Town. We were just working at the shops that were close to each other. He proposed love to me, and I told him that he was younger than I was, but still he told me that he loved me anyway. Since me and him, we were the only ones that were here in South Africa. All of his relatives, they were back home. We thought that this relationship of ours was going to work out, but unfortunately, my brother, after I had fallen pregnant for him, that was when we decided to tell his relatives about our relationship. I saw the hurtful words that they told my husband. They told my husband that he was such a fool to take someone that was way older than he was. They told him that I was going to be the one that was going to control him. He was never going to control me since I was way older than him. I was really hurt because when I entered into this relationship, I was in love with him. But from there on, that was when I saw that this was the reality of the matter. No one from my husband's family again was going to love me, and this was going to be the 3rd time. But at my age, with the kids that I had now standing at number 5, I then said that this is where I am going to rest. This is my final bus stop. I am not going to shift. This is the marriage that God has given to me. No one is going to take me out of this marriage. So what I did then, brother, is that I then decided to use some charms against my husband, even though it was really painful to use charms against him because I truly loved him. I didn't need any charms for me to love my husband, and he didn't need any charms to return back the love that I was giving him because we were madly in love with each other. With time, Brother Nashi, when I started using these herbs, I saw that our relationship, it was actually working out. There was another prophet that used to work there in Cape Town. That man was the one who assisted me, and it was a very simple prayer. Even when my husband would see these prayers inside our house, he could not even understand what was going on. All that was needed was a 2-liter bottle of Coke. All that was needed was a 1.2-liter bottle of Coke. You know, that one that they sell in a glass bottle. That was what was needed, not the plastic one. I went and I bought it. And after I had bought it, I went and I visited that prophet, and he had told me that we were supposed to place my husband's heart inside that bottle. and I had to go and throw it in a place whereby no one was ever going to find it. So the way that he told me that this will represent his heart, I actually had to buy a chicken. After I had bought a white chicken, I then slaughtered it whilst I was at his house, and I removed the heart. I did this, Brother Nashi, without using a lot of... And after that, he only allowed me to cut this chicken only once. And what I had to do was that I had to put my hand inside that chicken, and I actually had to pull out its heart when it was still warm. So I then made a piercing on its stomach area, and I opened the skin and I started pulling everything out. Even when I reached where the heart was, I actually felt that the heart, it was still trying to pump out blood. He quickly told me to place it inside that glass bottle, and after that he covered it with a red cloth. And the next thing that we were supposed to do, we were supposed to find a place where we were going to throw this bottle that contained the heart of that white chicken that I had slaughtered. I then hired a car which took us to the beach, and when we were at the beach, I then threw that bottle just by the beach, but making sure that at least it was going to be taken by the sea. That is what I did, Brother Nashi, and he recommended that this was the best thing that I could do. I wanted to go and throw it in the forest, but he said, no, let us go and throw it by the beach. After that, we then returned back home, and I saw that now my husband, he could do anything that I could request from him. When we returned back home, my brother, there was a lot of drama because some of his relatives, they noticed that I had done something to him because they had tried to sit down with him, but he kept on defending me. Even in situations whereby he was not supposed to defend me, he kept on defending me. With time, I then saw that it was far much better for me to convince my husband to leave the village where he was born, where he grew up in, and me and him, we went and we then started staying in another village where we are currently working, where we have our small lodge. That is what is giving us something to survive. That is my own story, my brother. I did it not because I am an evil woman. I had told myself that since I have given him a child, let this be my final resting place. But as for his relatives, they never wanted anything to do with me. Therefore, I had to protect my own territory. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear listeners. Our dear sister was saying that I did this because I wanted to protect my own territory. Yo, strange things do happen in this world.